COVID, I'm just gonna travel across the country and run around and touch a million fucking people. It's like, you're also stupid, you know? You're just as stupid as the guy that says, no, stay inside and don't breathe, you know?
Yeah, like, yeah, dude, it's crazy, the world, just how extreme people get, and it's like, yeah, dude, honestly, it was so hopeless, dude, when this whole thing started at first, because I was like, bro, I'm already lonely, bro. I barely got any friends, my guy. I'm like,
I lost so many people.
Honestly, bro, I had enough time to
stay inside.
It was crazy. Like, dude, I literally had enough time to make this channel. That tells you so much free time.
That tells you who your people are in events like that. You know, who stays in contact with you during stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I know you probably dealt with this, but mental health, bro. Mental health has been a big thing. Also in your music also has mentioned it.
Yeah, and, for sure.
And you also made a thing a couple days ago. You made a little conversation piece on SoundCloud.
Updating, yeah, like just opening the conversation on mental health for sure. Yeah. That's what I wanted to get out of that.
Yeah, it was, dude, honestly though, it was, I swear, dude, I mean, I almost cried, I'm not gonna lie, bro, listening to that.
Wow.
And yeah, because it was like,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, because it's weird because, like, I wasn't in that, like, I'm not in that group of y'all, like, the group that happened in. And so, like, when I heard about it, I still was like, holy cow, like, bro. You know, I was like, wow, like, she was super, like, I mean, she seemed to be, like, you know, smart as hell and, like, all this. And, like, it seemed like she was going to, like, do something. And it was like,
it was definitely devastating for me because I knew this person since middle school, you know what I'm saying? And this was like a friend of mine since middle school, and I witnessed them go through these very deep and important and mentally damaging transitions through their life, you know, like not just like gender wise, but like family wise and like self-treatment, you know, like, and it really hurt to, I still haven't fully processed that hurt to see them go like that, you know, like this person that I was best friends with at one point is just not here anymore. And it's that takes a toll on people a lot more than I think I want to admit, you know, like I'm sure that that's damaged me in a lot of ways that I'm not ready to address, you know, but I wanted to say something about it. I wanted to make it known that this person meant a lot to me at one point, and even if we weren't really talking when they passed away, they still were important in my life, and I cared about them, and they were my friend, you know, like I spoke about this person on 2020. It's one of the first things I talk about on that song. Is how I lost my first friend, and how much it devastated the people around me, especially my girlfriend at the time, you know, like it like everyone that I knew this person and knew that they were a good person, and they had such a nice impact, they had such a positive impact, and I really want, I feel like I should say his name because he deserves that recognition, like I really want Ray to be I want Ray to be remembered by us and like carried on in that way by us, because Ray meant a lot to me at one point in time, and he means a lot to me now, but he definitely meant a lot to me. And I'm not, like, I'm honestly not sure what type of a person I would be without them in my life, you know what I'm saying? Like they changed sort of how I view myself, sort of how I viewed like interactions with people. Yeah, I broke out of my shell for that person, you know what I'm saying? Like so they really, like, suicide's a difficult topic. It's a very complicated thing because there's plenty of people who've considered it, there's plenty of people who know somebody who's gone through it, there's plenty of people who have lost more than one person to it, you know. Luckily I've not had to go through more than just this, you know, but I mean I lost a friend of mine, not someone I knew very well, but a friend of mine named Jordan back in my sophomore year. And he was a kind kid, man. I hung out with this kid like I only hung out with this kid like 4 or 5 times, you know, like I didn't know him like that. He was such a kind kid. And he died to lupus. He died to a disease.
Oh wow.
That was totally out of his control that I didn't even know he had, you know. So hearing that this bright person in your life is gone, even that was hard. So having to hear that someone that used to be my best friend is dead to something that like they took their own life. It was it's still, I still think about him. I still think about him every now and then. I still try and process why I'm not devastated by it. And I think it's okay that I like, even if I've cried about it before, that I'm not like destroyed by it. You know, I can't make myself feel that because of the time.
Guys, we're back.
Like, oh, no.
Sorry, we had some technical difficulties over here.
Technical difficulties. Day 2 of the FLEXBOY podcast with me.
Day 2 of the FLEXBOY podcast, y'all. All right, we're back. So,
you're back.
What were we on? We're on mental health, my guy.
Mental health. We're just gonna dive right into this deep ass subject.
Yeah, we are gonna dive right into this.
Why not? Got my chair down low. I'm all here for it, bro. Yeah. I'm all here for it.
I mean, I feel like everybody's interested to see how everybody has mentally like dealt with being in
a lot of what's going on,
quarantine and I mean, I know personally mine has been tested. Not gonna lie.
Mine has been tested too, bro. Mine has been tested so hard. It's being forced to be alone for like a month and a half, 2 months is like something I feel no human being should have to be forced to do. But like, I forget prison is like a thing, so like a lot of people have to do that actually.
yeah, that dude. Luckily, I have a brother, and I mean, he's kind of like a friend that you can talk to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and like, luckily, I have an Xbox, so you know, sometimes.
Xbox and a brother. I mean, you don't really need more entertainment than that.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. All I really had was just like my current job. Like that was just, and I, you know, being an essential worker, quote unquote, when you work in retail, it makes it easy to be able to go from place to place and still see people. So I felt like not entirely insane, but if I didn't even have that, God, no money, and I'm alone. Wow. Pain, deep pain.
Yeah. I feel for all these people though that like lost their jobs and junk and we're stuck at home, dude.
Right now.
It's
crazy.
It's crazy, yo. I cannot imagine though. Like honestly, like even though mine like wasn't the great, like it definitely tested me and my family's stability. That is for sure. Oh, like dealing with each other for months, like inside, because when this happened, yo, like once they like called lockdown in our state, bro, I did not go out until like the second month, I think. Like I did not go outside my house.
Only place I could really go was my job. That was really bad.
Yeah, like I didn't go out until like I had to go to the grocery store one time because because I mean the only reason I would have been working, but my job didn't find me as an essential worker. So my other job, because I work 2 jobs, and my second one, they didn't find my position essential, so they were just basically hey, we're not going to start up till this time period and blah blah blah.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah, and then my other job I did online. Basically it was stuff that I could do online, luckily. I mean, it's video chats.
Heck yeah. Oh yeah, I got you. That's
enough,
yeah.
Yeah, so I mean it still didn't feel like, because dealing with clients and stuff for my other job, the connection wasn't there. It just felt kind of weird.
It's different. Yeah, it's different.
It's not like in person. But interested in talking about you. I know you posted a thing on SoundCloud. I'm not okay. You kind of got about your mental health.
Okay. Yeah, it's just, I really just wanted to, that was a very low point for me. And what's funny is I'm saying this now because in the past tense, but in all reality, this was maybe like 4 days ago. I was at a really low point then. I'm a lot better now, 4 days later. But you know, it was quite literally just recorded in my car in a moment of almost desperation to reach out and hope that people understood. It was kind of like me saying, you know, it was me saying to my problems, hey, you know, you don't get to take control of me right now and decide what I do, you know. And I really wanted to open that discussion of why it's okay to not always have to be okay. And I feel like a lot of people definitely resonated with that. It seemed like what's funny about it in retrospect, that little short, I guess not short, it's like 9 minutes, but that little vocal now, what do you want to call it, is that like the next day I got like 100 plays. Not sure where those came from.
Oh, wow.
A lot of them came from like somewhere in Ukraine. I mean, hey, and I'm all here for it. You know, whoever gets something out of the message, whoever gets something out of it, I'm happy for it. Be it a Ukrainian or, you know, a local Atlantean. Is that what we call people from Atlanta? Are they Atlantean? I've never.
I guess. I mean,
I've never
Georgian.
Looked into it.
I mean,
Georgian. We're gonna go with Georgian.
Georgian. I don't know. Some people say redneck. You know, hillbilly. You know. But yeah.
And like the thing with me about that voice memo was that it helped me realize a lot of what I was dealing with aside from just in that moment. You know, like I was alone in my car for about like 2 hours in a apartment complex parking lot, like right next to my old high school, you know, and I just had to think about how alone I felt in that moment, because there was nobody. Like I tried calling people, tried hanging out with a friend, you know, just to make myself feel better, and I was forced to confront all these issues I had. I think that's really why I made that, because I wanted people to know, like, you got to go through it, you got to go feel these issues, you have to feel this pain, and you can't just like hide from it or run from it or distract yourself forever, you know. And I think in that moment I recognized that I was distracting myself, and I really wanted to not do that anymore. I really wanted to show that, you know, I'm not okay, and this is why it's okay that I'm not feeling good right now, and you can be okay with that too. You can express that and you can move forward because it makes you better in general. And you know, I'm living proof 4 days later without making any rash decisions. I'm alive, I'm well, I'm fine, and I'm no longer alone in a car. So I think it worked out. I think I'm okay now.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel it's interesting. Like I used to, when I was like, you know, when we were in high school or whatever, I always viewed mental health or like dealing with your problems. It was like, I always thought when people did that, they wanted like attention, especially when like more popular people did it. It was just like, oh, I have this problem, and it's like, bro, really? It's
real thing.
Like when you realize what their life is like, you're like, really, dude, you really have problems? Like,
yeah.
Because for me, I was that person that was like, I'm pretty sure your problems aren't that bad. Last time I checked, you're not a veteran with PTSD.
Yeah, privilege, basically.
Yeah, basically. And I was like, because I always try to see the lens. Like, I mean, I always find myself sometimes like getting mad at like small things sometimes, you know, because like, you know, just, I don't know what it is, just something. It's like, even though you know it's small, it can still sometimes bother you. And so I was like, I always look back and I'm like, is it really that bad? Is it like, I'm like, no, it's not. So like I hold it in. But then sometimes when I do that too much, it's like eventually it's like gonna come out and you're gonna project it onto other people. So
sure. And
so I've realized now, like,
yeah,
I don't judge people how they deal with, you know, their stress in life and their anger, you know. But yeah, it still does kind of piss me off when other people that are, you know, that you know their lives are good, they're just like, really, why are you complaining about this?
They're
so
in a
stupid.
good position.
Yeah.
I mean, to each his own. There's definitely an atmosphere out there, I think, for people that have these good households, these good lives, of you know, anything bad that happens to them, even remotely, that is their tragedy. You know, they have to cling on to that. You know what I'm saying? Like that's their deepness. They can't feel deep without this one thing that happened to them. My dog died. My mom took away my car because she found out I was smoking weed. You know, like dude.
Yeah.
You know, there are people out there with way more shit than that. But I also don't want to discredit real shit, because I've known people personally that you know, they were these popular kids. They had these supposedly good lives, but they really had a lot of inner demons. You know, they talk to me about that, and they talk to me about how they feel and how they feel like no one knows them. You know, there's no real outlet for them to express stuff like that. And so, like, I don't think necessarily fame or you know, a loving household or anything like that, like any privilege necessarily discredits mental well-being or any struggle that person goes through. You know, like I'm like as far as like what comes with like a low-income household and like the mental struggles that come with that, they don't have to experience that. So like if they ever say like, oh, you know, I know what it's like, they don't, you know. So stuff like that, there's no way they could possibly know. Like ain't no way in hell you know what it's like to live off food stamps or anything like that, you know what I'm saying? But that doesn't necessarily mean that they don't understand that or they don't know struggles similar to that up here, you know. And I think that's where mental health is a very confusing topic. A lot of people still don't think mental illness is like even real, you know what I'm saying? Like
yeah, definitely.
there's a lot of taboo discussion about it. You know, there's a lot of people that claim that stuff like PTSD, for example, a lot of people just assume that's only in like war veterans, you know. But like any traumatic event, like a really deeply traumatic event, you're gonna get PTSD as a result of that, you know, because that's how the human mind works. When we're traumatized by something, you know, be it like an abusive household, you know, a death, anything like that, you know, when something reminds me of that, you know, I'm always going to go back and think of that event, you know, of that time, or you know, what happened to me. And that's just human nature. But a lot of people, it becomes a lot more frequent and it becomes almost terrifying. And that's where, you know, post-traumatic stress disorder is probably way more common than we think. I think we just don't diagnose it a lot because it's so hard to like gauge. It's so hard to really gauge who has that, you know. We attribute it to like war veterans because they obviously went through a very traumatic thing. They had to kill people, they had to watch people be killed and watch people die and all these terrible things. But that doesn't necessarily mean that other terrible things that happen right here in our own homes don't have the same effect on us, you know what I'm saying? So like I'm sure like a lot of people have that shit.
Like I just use veterans because that's like the obvious answer.
Oh
and
yeah,
that's
exactly.
Like
that's the obvious example. Yeah,
that is like that is just like the textbook. Like, you know, when you think of PTSD, you immediately think, at least to me, I think of veterans or, you know, people that have had to kill somebody.
That, you know, I don't ever think of like that. I can't imagine. That's probably the reason that's such a big example is because of how common it is, because of how serious their trauma is, you know, like that. I can't even imagine what they had to go through, you know. And that's what sucks about being in the military is people always are like, thank you for your service, and you know, you're fighting for this country, but they don't really, when they get home, you know, they're not thinking like politically or patriotically necessarily. They're not thinking about like, I'm so glad I fought for my country. They're thinking about all the shit that they saw and had to do, you know. And I think that's what's so fucked is like, I'm not saying like, you know, respect to all veterans 1000%, like I'm not trying to discredit that ever, but I'm saying like what's so fucked is people will ask veterans, you know, I've seen people ask veterans, have you ever killed anybody before? Like that's just a casual question. And it's like, dude, that's like real for them, you know. They've had like, this is it's almost like a lot of veterans, they were poor, especially like Vietnam veterans. They were poor, you know. They were poor, they couldn't afford college, they had no other real choice to move forward other than join the military, you know what I'm saying?
That, and you know, most people got drafted, but yeah,
exactly. There was a lot of drafting too, so like there was no choices, and if you did have a choice, you know, a lot of them were poor. So that's the thing about the military that I think more people realize as far as war goes, is that they're not going to send, they're not going to send like the really smart, really intelligent politicians to go negotiate situations like this. If they're going to fight, they're going to send the dumb people, the poor people, they're going to send those people, the uneducated people. And they use those people just about, it feels like. And I've watched videos of like firsthand accounts from veterans where they're like, when you're in that moment and you have your gun pointed at somebody and they're pointing it back at you, you're not thinking about he's a Viet Cong, or he's an Iraqi. You're thinking it's me or him right now, regardless of who that is. It could be anybody in that moment. And then that's mesmerizing to me. The fact that, in that moment, it's not even, and it can't be about the bigger picture of your country or freedom. It's just really about survival. And I think that's what a lot of people get wrong. A lot of people think that like these veterans, they enjoyed doing what they did. And the truth is quite the opposite. Truth is quite the opposite as far as I've been told. It's like, it's a terrible thing. War is a terrible thing. It's a terrible experience too.
Yeah, I feel like, luckily I think today, I feel like sometimes, like, obviously, it's still the same, like, when a buddy gets blown up or you have to go into a house and you have casualties and just in general, you kill people and it's your first time and you're like, holy cow, this feels so weird. Like the shock to them. And it's like, wow, I just did that. And it's like your mind is still processing like what's happening.
For years. Yeah. For years it probably processes that,
Yeah. And I feel like luckily now I feel like there's a lot more choice in the matters. And so luckily there's more like camaraderie and like, it seems more enjoyable, until like, those horrible moments happen, obviously.
Yeah. But the military now is almost this benefit program for people that don't have a lot of options. Like I have plenty of buddies that are in the Air Force, and for them it's like they'll pay for your college, they'll help you get through life, and you get the status that kind of protects you from a lot of things forever, in the country. And I think that like as far as that goes, that's a great thing. But the scary thing about joining the military is that even though we're in peacetime right now and have been for a very long time, what comes with joining the military is that if something happens, you're the first to go, like you're the first sent out there to do terrible things, like they're not, maybe in more modern times because of like drones and shit, we don't necessarily need to as much, but like in the event that happened, like all those good parts of the military kind of go away, because now you are quite literally being forced to give your life to kill other people. That's heavy to deal with, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean it's always going to be necessary, even in this time period that we are now.
I'm not saying like abolish the military.
No, I wasn't saying you were.
That's the worst idea. That's the worst idea.
But yeah, it's weird how you like when you say it like that. It's kind of like, wow, we always like just have like a group of people ready to just go at it, but
ready to have some shit happen, and that's scary, but it's comforting at the same time. Because all the people that I've met, most of them, all the people that I've met that have joined the forces are always really nice people. They're really good people.
Yeah, definitely.
But there's definitely the occasional nutcase that's like, I just want to go kill some fucking or just some weird sociopathic shit, and you're like, damn, I really hope you're not the one protecting me. Crazy.
But yeah, it's interesting because I almost did. I was thinking about it at one point because I was like, like. And I never did because I was like, bro, there's no way. I'm like, but yeah, I was like, and then like after the recent past couple of years, I was like, maybe, I don't know, but it just eventually, and I don't know, I'm still contemplating it,
Oh, sure, yeah.
Depends, like, how life goes right now and stuff, and
that's the thing. Like, there's a lot of benefits to doing it, but I think as far as like the government goes with its involvement in it, it's really a situation of they want you, they want kind of fact that you don't know what to do with your life almost against you. They're like, well, yeah, sign your life over in of a war and possibly die. You know? It's like, so that's where there's like some malice in the military. I feel like the military is almost treated as like this end all be all for, oh, I'm poor, I can't find a way out of life, let me just possibly sign up to die, you know. And I think it used to be treated a lot more like not like a last resort and more just like a genuine choice. I think because a lot of recruiters I've talked to are like, hey, you're 19, you're working this job, you should come join the military because you have no other fucking choice. And treated a lot more like it's an option and not just like a last resort.
Yeah, I mean that yeah, it's I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting, recruiting and all that. And like you said, I respect everybody that I know that's went into the military. Even if they are like, you know, some people in the military like to call the Air Force the chair force. I still respect those people because you got to be smart.
National Guard is useless until recently.
Yeah. Oh boy,
one time we need them, it's against our own people. Ain't that funny?
Oh boy, it's
That's just hilarious.
Yeah, but yeah. Also in that like that SoundCloud memo, you talked about a friend, tragic that happened to a friend of yours, and you were talking about how you didn't really, again, like withholding feelings. You said you didn't really process it when it immediately happened, like when it happened initially. But then you talked about how now you're kind of like feeling the effects, and you kind of always did, but you didn't really acknowledge them until like when you said you released that a few days ago. And so it's very interesting to hear, because when I heard about this, depending if what I cut out, like I said, I didn't know like that person really, but it was still like crazy when it happened, because just knowing what she, like how smart she was, and like it seemed like she was like pretty confident in herself. Like when I was around, like when I was around her, I never really
That's always been the impression. No, you're fine. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't hear you. But yeah, she always seemed like when I was around her, it seemed like she was pretty confident about herself. And like, I mean, I didn't really know her that well, but it seemed like she was a pretty decent person.
Oh, absolutely.
So yeah, it was pretty tragic to hear, especially when I first heard about it. I was like, damn, that is whack.
I mean, the thing about that person, about Ray, you know, I do want to give credit to this person, because I mean, like, you know, Ray was a big influence on my life. I do want to give them credit. You know, I like was with Ray basically as their friend through like every weird transitional period in their life. You know, like obviously they are transgender. I knew them as a female when I first met them. They went into non-binary and then to male. And for me, like as like a middle schooler at the time, that was kind of ignorant to literally everything in the world. I was like this person who was my best friend, you know, having to see that kind of transition, I kind of opened my eyes to the world a little bit, you know, it kind of opened my mind to stuff like that, because like you still care about that person even if you don't necessarily understand it. And I think that's where a lot of my respect for the trans community comes from. It's not necessarily just out of like, I mean, like I feel like people really put a lot of pressure on other people's choices anyways, which I don't get, you know, like it's not your problem. I've never personally ever cared enough to judge another person for something like being trans, and especially not after knowing someone like Ray, you know, and how kind they were and how good of a friend that person was to me, you know. And it has taken me a long time to process their death. I don't want to use their death as like some, you know, I don't want to just use that for some shit or whatever, but like I do want to talk about it because like I feel like Ray deserved recognition. You know, Ray was incredibly talented. Ray was was easily the best artist I've ever known. You know, like the opportunities he ended up having before he died were insane. And I agree that he seemed very confident, and he seemed like he was starting to be very comfortable with life, and it was very unexpected when when he passed. And for me, even though we weren't necessarily talking that much at the time, that was still like somebody I was at one point like, you know, like this with, you know, we were neck and neck, we were close to, like we would text each other every day almost at one point, you know, and like,
Gotcha. Yeah, I feel it.
I was thankful I got to hang out with them last year before that happened. I was really thankful I got to see that person one last time, you know what I'm saying, and appreciate them. And it like, grief is a weird thing. I wasn't necessarily immediately devastated right when it happened, like you said, you know, and like I said in the voice memo, it took me a long time to be devastated. I shared my tears, I said my condolences, and I processed it in my own way. But you know, at that point, like I said, you know, we hadn't been talking for a while, and it just felt different. And I think it wasn't really until recently that I realized I was running from that feeling. You know, I was very much running from the feeling of losing a friend, because I had already lost so many friends, not necessarily to that, but like in general, you know. And I just didn't know how to handle that yet. But Ray had a massive impact on me, had a huge influence on me. And I'd be lying if I said that I didn't, you know, like there was a week that went by where I kind of didn't think about him, you know, and think about what happened and process it a little bit better, you know. And I think that's one of those things that I would like, kind of, not to say I have. See, I'm not trying to like be one of those motherfuckers that is diagnosed and says some shit, tying that into the trauma. I'd say that's a traumatic event in my life that I've kind of suppressed until very recently. It just, I recognize that he finds his way into my brain still. I still think about him. I still think about in some way. And you know, I've written it before. There is a lyric on 2020 where I'm talking about him, you know, and I'm talking about his impact on me. He has returned.
Oh,
technical difficulties one last time.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh.
I don't know what just happened, but
Okay.
we're all Gucci.
All right.
We're all Gucci.
All right, we're still recording.
Yeah, we're still recording.
All right, cool.
Just tell me, let me know when you want to cut back in. Let me know when you want to cut back in. I'll just keep talking.
All right, 1 sec.
Get your shit figured out, bitch.
Sorry, my man. All right, you got it. All right,
get your shit ready.
All right, so.
Oh my god.
Well, I heard you were.
All right. Sorry. We just keep.
Oh wait. You there?
Yeah, just keep cutting off. Just keep cutting
What
it
the heck,
off.
man? What the heck, broski?
Recording.
All right, we're still recording.
What the heck is happening, bro?
All right. All right. Try talking. Oh. Are you there? Come on. You there?
Like, he's returned.
All right, back. All right.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh shit, he's back.
All right.
Fuck.
Let's All right. Try talking again.
Wobble, 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 wobble.
Okay, it's switching. All right. Cool. All right. Sorry about that. Jesus.
No,
All right.
You're good. The connection's still kind of wobbly, but it's only the video, so yeah, we're all
okay.
Gucci.
Hopefully the audio will.
Gucci in this hood.
All right.
We're all Gucci in this hood, girl.
All right. We all good in the hood.
Love, baby.
All right.
It's all love, baby. It's all love in this hood.
All right. All right. You want to keep going?
Yes, I want to keep going. I want to get this fucking podcast done.
No, so bad. I hate these interruptions. Pissing me off.
They suck, bro. But we gotta finish it. We gotta power.
I know. I'm just asking.
We're so close to the end, bro. We're so close to the end.
I know. This is gonna be hell to freaking cut out. But hey,
it'll be worth it. It'll be worth it in the end.
Yeah, it'll be worth it. Hopefully, a lot of people will be like, "Who the frick is this man?" We'll get tons of views. All right.
That's the goal. At least 100 views. At least 100.
Yeah, bro. At least 100 views, bro.
I'm gonna
repost this.
I'm important enough to get 100. You know, I'm important enough. You better get FLEXBOY 100, or I'll fucking kill you. I'll end your
all
shit.
Right. Oh boy. All right. So where are we at?
Okay.
We were talking about Ray, right?
We were
talking about Ray.
Yes, we were at Ray.
All right, so I think you were at. She was an inspiration to you.
Yeah.
Oh, you were talking about the lyric you had about her, I think, in 2020.
Yeah. So, cutting back to that, technical difficulties. Cutting back to that, I just really wanted to say, like, you know, without Ray, I don't think I would be the same person that I am now. And a lot of people, unfortunately, in the modern age, going through high school, they're gonna know at least like one or two people that have died, and a lot of the times that's from suicide. Unfortunately, I know two people that have died, one of which was by lupus.
Oh yeah, you're telling me about that.
And the other guy who yeah, and you know, like, even if you don't, the impact someone has in your life entirely depends, not necessarily on how like close you are to them, but just, you know, when they come into your life. And both the people that I lost came into my life at just the right time. You know, I was a lot closer with Ray than I was with Jordan, my other friend. But you know, they both still affected me. They affected me enough to where it really did feel for a long time like I was missing something. And it still sucks to think about how like I can't touch base with Ray anymore. You know, like I can't expect to see a text from him or to just hang out with him again. You know, like I'd give anything for that. And as much as you can't change the past, like I would just give and be able to just see him one more time. You feel me? Like,
yeah, definitely.
There's still a lot of pain there, but the biggest thing I want to open up about with the discussion of mental health is like, you know, suppressing stuff like that only gets you so far. And suppressed Ray for a long time happened, up till probably now. And it took me a long time to realize that it's okay to not be like totally crushed if you haven't been in contact with that person in a while, but it's also okay to grieve privately. And I think I've been kind of doing both. You know, I definitely feel like I've almost been blaming myself for not being more destroyed by it, given how much of an impact he had on me. Like I've almost beaten myself up about that 100 times now, you know, but I recognize also that I am torn up about it, and I still think about it, and I still hear about it and want to fix something that I can't fix. And losing somebody in your life, it's really something else, man. Like it's really it's not something you can just delicately touch on and go away. Like I don't want to get all preachy on here in any format. I really don't want to dwell on the subject too much because it's very personal. But with Ray, there's a lot there that's going to be unresolved forever, and you really got to appreciate the time you have with somebody while you have it. You know, like I know a lot of people that knew Ray and stopped talking to Ray because of choices he made, you know, and for a minute I was one of those people, you know, like not like right before he died, but like, you know, maybe a year or so before, I was one of those people. And then we really started to reconnect again, and that was just kind of when everything happened. And like, it's not my fault. I can't blame myself, and I know that, but you can't help but think, you know, like if I had been there more, would something be different? If I had stayed around the whole time and not been periodic, would things have been different, you know? And that just ever since that, I've noticed that I check in a lot on some of my buddies, you know, even ones I haven't talked to in a while. You gotta check in on them. If you don't think they're doing okay, if you're even concerned, or if you just miss them, you know, just check in on them. Like, don't be too prideful or think you're better than them because of something they've done or anything like that, because you never know, you know, like you'll miss them when they're gone in any way that happens. And no, I don't think anyone's above that. I don't think anyone's above being able to admit that they miss their friend and that they want their friend to be okay. And if I have anyone take away something from what voice memo I put out, I want it to be like, take care of yourself and take care of those around you, because it's okay. It's okay to talk about shit like that, you know, because you never know when it's too late to. Holding it in doesn't help anybody. Holding it in doesn't even help yourself, you know. And I've seen a lot of people hold it in. I've had to deal with a lot of holding stuff in myself. And it's just something that will eat away at your head until there's not much left, you know. Like you at that point you're just caving in. And for some people it goes one of two ways, you know. They search for an out, or they reach out. And you know, there's been plenty of people that have found an out, and there's been plenty of people that haven't. And it's just really important that everyone in your life, no matter, you know, if they meant something to you at all, you make sure that they feel like they have somebody when they're down, when they're out, you know, like, because you never know. Like my friend and drummer Gunnar, he was telling me a story. I'm not going to tell anyone's name in this, you know, on his because that's private information. But he was telling me a story about a family member who told him that there came a time in his life where this family member of his was chilling in a car and had a gun and everything, and was sitting in a parking lot ready to do it, and told himself, if nobody calls me before I do this, it's over, you know. And right in the nick of time, one of his cousins called him and just asked how he was doing, and he said, nothing, man, you know, I'm just fine. And just goes to show that a lot of these come from places of feeling alone. Like I know that for a fact that in my car, you know, when I recorded that, I was very nearly at that same place. You know, I was very nearly at that brink. And I'm okay now. I'm not gonna try and say like I have this tendency or anything, or I'm like remotely suicidal, but I reached a point where I understood why. You know, I understood why these stories happened and these events happened, and it's because of times like that when you feel like you don't have anybody else. And so I reached out in that moment by posting that. That was my last ditch effort to kind of just say something and get it all out there before, you know, taking a route I didn't want to take. And I'm proud that in that moment I was able to come to my senses, kind of, you know, realize that there were people that cared about me, people that really needed me, and not everyone knows that. So biggest takeaway I want to give today is just checking on your people, man. No matter if they're with you or have been with you, or you're not on speaking terms. Put shit aside, put old shit aside, and just check in with your people, because you never know. You never know anymore.
Yeah, I definitely can agree with that. Because geez, that really hit me, because I could think of, I mean, my situation is a little weird because, like, just to touch on myself a little bit, it's like I don't really got like the way my life was is basically I didn't really have like a best friend. So right now I'm just kind of chilling. I'm chilling by myself, dude.
Okay.
But I used to, and like he was there for a while, and then I don't know, something happened. I don't know. It's just I literally don't know. But something happened, and then we just grew apart, and it's like we went to different schools and stuff, and it was just like, whatever. And then it's like when I was doing sports, those friends just kind of like went on their own way. It's just like I totally feel that though, like, because I do owe one of my friends, definitely I owe a couple of them for being there for me. I just never thought about it because they have reached out to me, and they have been there for times that were hard.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's just after graduating, it's just like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if you've had this situation, but it's like, don't really talk to a lot of people. I don't know. That's just me. I didn't really talk to a lot of people after high school, especially in our grade and stuff.
Yeah. Like, no, I mean, like I mean, we know each other. You know that, like, I had like a bunch of fucking acquaintances in high school, but it wasn't until after high school I realized I only had like a tight little circle of actual friends. You feel me? I feel like a lot of people feel that way right out of high school, and that's perfectly normal. Like, I want to say like on your situation, people grow apart, and it doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily fault on either party's side, it's just like people become different, and maybe, like, that's not to say later down the line you don't reconnect, but like I can name several friends that I've had that I don't talk to them anymore at all, but we used to talk all the time in school and like a little bit outside of the school. And I have no idea where the
back again. FLEXBOY. No, FLEXBOY. Don't leave.
Okay, oh, it's because your network is low. That's what it's saying. Your bandwidth is low.
My bandwidth. What the frick? All right, let me. What are we doing here?
We don't even have to edit any of this out. This is the beauty in its raw form.
I know. Yeah, we'll see how the recording.
This is the beauty of Zoom in its pure form.
I'm interested to see how freaking the recording looks.
Fucking app I've ever used.
Oh, dude.
We might as well have just FaceTimed. Honestly, it would probably be more efficient.
Yeah, I thought about it. I just thought, with a mic or whatever, the voice quality would be better.
I've seen people do interviews and podcasts on like Instagram Live and just screen record that. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, this is already a little better than.
I thought about doing this live, but I was like, yeah. Anyways,
well, if we had all this shit when we were doing it live, it would be game over.
Yeah. Oh, maybe next time I might. I don't know. My whatchamacallit's down here. Not the router, the modem. I don't know.
Bring your router.
If I have to do this again, I might plug my modem into this, but I don't know how well that worked. But
we'll find out.
Anyways, so back to what we were talking about.
As I was saying, people grow apart. It doesn't necessarily mean you don't care about them. You still love them, but like it's for the best sometimes that this person grows out of your life because you okay with yourself, you know. Like, so I think it's perfectly fine. You don't have like a set best friend right now. Like, you know, like I don't even think I can say I have a set best friend right now, you know. But I have a lot of good friends, and that's what counts, you know, just having people in your circle. Like, you know, even if it's few and far between, you got people, and you got people you can talk to, people you can hit up, and it's a beautiful thing regardless of who they are, you know.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And yeah, I'm just saying I take it for granted because I luckily have never had to deal with like a person I really knew pass away that I had a deep connection with. So far it's just been like relatives.
I wouldn't wish it on anybody. I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Yeah, no, I could not imagine it. It'd be crazy. Yeah, it's just, yeah, dude. Hearing that, dude, honestly, I swear, like I told you off the record, I said, dude, it almost made me cry. Not gonna lie. Like when I heard it, dude, I was like, damn. Shit.
Like it's a very vulnerable state that I was in, and I wanted to kind of put that out there because I don't think a lot of people get that picture of me very often. You know, they, especially in the songs I make, like my songs express how I feel for sure, but I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe like it's only been like a few songs that I've actually maybe talked about myself personally, you know, like really in depth talked about myself. And I think just that voice memo alone was a good way to just provide insight and be vulnerable. And I got a lot of support as a result of it, just from people, you know, just people hitting me up saying that they were appreciative and were really inspired by that. And that's all I wanted out of that. You know, I just wanted people to feel like, I wanted people to understand where I was coming from. I wanted them to feel something from it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely, yeah, I would say, the add on to that note, I would just say like what you're doing has inspired a lot of people to do their own thing, I think. Damn. Production wise. I mean, it could. I mean, personally for me,
actually,
not the you know, not to blow you up or nothing, but you kind of inspired me to like start this and like not to blow you up, but
that's
I'm
adorable.
Serious.
That is precious.
But like,
thank you though. That's like really, that's really nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you die again?
No, I didn't.
Oh, no,
I haven't yet. But but no, seriously, just because, like, even though other people have, like, other popular, like, it's just like, since I knew you and it was just close to home, you know, I was just like, yo, like, I could be doing something. Like, I was just, bro, I was like, yo, I can make my free time like more productive, honestly, like doing this.
Some kind of way, man.
But and like, just to add, like, I mean, that's why I hit you up. Like, I don't know if you remember, but like, I think it was last year. I think it was last year. I hit you up. I was like, bro, what do you use to make like beats or whatever? And then you told me, and like,
oh yeah, like I'm not gonna. Yeah. There's no secret. It's Audacity and LMMS, the two free programs that I can find on the internet. Like, I'm not rich.
Yeah, I know. Like, I was just wondering because, like, you know, I mean,
I don't use like FL or nothing. Like,
yeah, I know. Yeah,
fancy.
And I was just because I was interested because I was thinking about, like, I don't know, because at the time I just started listening to music more often last year because I had to get Spotify for work or whatever.
Yeah.
And or it wasn't required, but it was just better for work. And like just listening to music and like how inspirational other artists were. Mm-hmm. I almost wanted to talk about, like, I wanted to express my own stuff and struggle into it.
Yeah, I feel you.
And I almost did, yo. I mean, I like have a couple like beats that I made there. I mean,
rapped.
Like,
almost rippity rap.
I almost did, dude. I almost did. But I realized my voice is not the greatest.
Right, hey man, everyone's voice is the greatest. That's a lie. I'm lying. No, okay.
I was about to say,
like
maybe not.
Fine. If I can do it, I feel like you're probably fine. I'm literally, you're gonna hear it like on the tape, but like every single song where I rap, I like put on like a bulldog voice. You know, like I go way into my throat.
You go DMX level.
Like,
You go.
I go like this, and I get like really intense, and like I like almost flex up my whole body as if I'm borderline like gritting through my teeth talking to you, just because that kind of like I feel like I need to have that intimidation factor. Because normally, if I talk like this in my very normal American male voice, it's not very rap, I will say.
Yeah.
That.
It's not very hard, bro.
This voice is not very rap. Like people will listen to a song I made and they'll be like, bro, that's hard. And I'll be like, thank you so much. I'm so appreciative of it.
It's just saying in your regular voice.
Thank you so much. Oh my God. You're so kind.
Dude trying to sounds like freaking Denzel Curry over here. Next thing you know, you hear him sounding like Young Gravy.
like I can't really think of many rappers where their voice on a track doesn't sound like completely different than how they talk. Like,
oh yeah,
especially people like Young Thug. Like, do you think Young Thug talks like that?
Oh
no.
my,
like hell no. Like, do you think Playboi Carti just talks the way he does that?
He does the baby voice the whole entire time.
That'd be fucking hilarious. But no, like, there's
wanna
always
be Carti.
This
Wanna be
sound.
Carti.
This.
You want to be Cardi? Bitch is a baby.
All right, so that's the whole thing about music, is that it's always a performance art. Like, there's nothing wrong with using just your normal voice, and I feel like if you talk in like an accent or something, like Drake, like the way Drake does it, a little weirder, you know? It's Drake really does sound like Drake whenever he raps. He just sounds like him talking, honestly. But like, there are times when he tries to throw in a little patois, a little like London grammar in there, and the hint of an accent, and it's like, to me, that just it doesn't necessarily sound bad. It just sounds fake. It sounds very fake, like you're trying.
I don't know why, but I can't get like over his voice in War. The new song he released with the dark demo tapes.
No disrespect to Drake, like I fuck with Drake.
Yeah, he's very versatile, but on that song, it was just like you could tell he was stressing it. Like
it sounds like a kid trying too hard to be somewhere he's not supposed to. You know what I'm saying? Like Drake is not a grime rapper. Drake is not a UK rapper, and so to like implement some parts of the UK rap scene into your rap, I get it. Like, it's okay. Like, that makes sense. But to like just straight up try and be one is almost like a lie. I feel like I'm listening to someone lie to themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like, War feels like someone lying to themselves for like 3 minutes.
And it was funny. KSI just released his album.
There's a
one of the biggest YouTubers. Wait, what?
There's a grime rapper right there, KSI.
But I mean, it's weird because his voice is actually. I mean, I feel like he also gets a good voice. Yeah, his voice sounds good. It's kind of like not DaBaby, but like, you know how DaBaby has like that deep, like, and you can tell when he's on a track, you could tell it's DaBaby.
KSI has a recognizable voice. I don't have any issue with KSI's voice. I think, like, for me, what's weird is like KSI is like borderline not a rapper and borderline a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can be an actual artist, but to me, it's like right now he just sounds like everything else that I hear. You know, it doesn't sound really like, it doesn't stand out to me at all. Like, his voice is very unique, but that's about the only thing he has going for him. Like, the beats are weak, in my opinion. You know?
Really? You think?
Yeah, I don't really get like a lot out of the beats from there. Like, I feel like I could hear a beat like that on just any Little Baby song, any Gunna song that I wanted to, and it just wouldn't make a difference. So, which is funny because Gunna's like on that KSI album. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. I think there's actually a track with Gunna on there.
Lil Baby's on a track. That's who you're thinking. Okay, Lil Baby's on a Down Like That.
Lil Baby and Gunna are the same person. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, like
I'm not like flat out bad, but like they're the same person. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of their. I mean, the only song The only song right now I have in my playlist from Lil Baby is "Down Like That" and his newest one, "Bigger Picture," which I really like.
I like Bigger Picture too, for sure.
Yeah, and I look, I don't even like agree. Like we talked about his message. Like I don't. I mean, it made sense because like what he says in there is what some of I think, and I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah. I think he's just trying to get the perspective into people with a song like that. And if you really want a good perspective piece on what's going on right now, I would say listen to "Lockdown" by Anderson .Paak. Like that is, I don't know if you've heard that song, but like he put that out and he really just touches on everything really beautifully, I think, over this really nice funky beat. You know, there's a song called "Pig Feet" by I think it was Terrence Martin. I think that was the name of the composer, and it features. I'm not honestly sure. It features Denzel Curry.
Is it JPEG Mafia? Yeah, you there?
Kamazi walked and Kamazi.
Okay, we're back. Oh boy, you there? Yo, Sean, you there? Oh, the lag is real.
Yeah, you hear me?
Okay, yeah, now I hear you clear. Oh, it's lagging a little bit. Oh, please tell me that.
I know there's so
Okay,
much
now we're
lag.
back. All right, just gave me the warning. All right, cool. Anyways,
still fuck for me. Really back. It worked.
So anyway, yeah, we're back now. I think. Yeah, we're good. All right. So what were you saying? Sorry, it was Cosmo.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh my
He really is.
You there?
It's kind of like
there.
FLEXBOY.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You hear me?
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
shit.
Okay.
Yo, network bandwidth is low.
Oh my gosh. What the heck? So weird. All right. All right.
Freaking loser.
Yeah, I know. Apparently, I suck.
Get more bandwidth, you freaking loser.
All right.
Look up Pig Feet, Terrence Martin, Denzel Curry, and then fucking Lockdown, Anderson .Paak. Like that. Those two songs are perfect. What's going on right now? Like they really express both sides and everything like in perspective really well. And I like that's just proves how music is a very powerful protest tool. You know what I'm saying? I think we've been needing some protest music, frankly. It's been like 7 years we got like some good ass protest music. I think Rage Against the Machine was the last good protest music.
Raging Against the Machine. Yeah, I'm familiar. I think I've heard that before, but I've never.
Against them. Wow. We gotta educate this man.
I know.
Apparently, go flame the fuck out of FLEXBOY for not knowing who Rage Against the Machine is.
Oh boy, I feel like I'm gonna listen to it. I'm gonna be like, oh wait, I've heard this before. I'm a freaking idiot.
You ever heard the one song? The one song. Why can I not think of it? I know what this is. It goes like, and now you do what they told you. And now you do what they told you. Those who died are justified. You know the fucking one.
Jeez.
And then there's Bulls on Parade. There's Testify. There's a lot. But I don't know how I'm forgetting their biggest hit. I really don't know how I'm forgetting.
That's hilarious.
Their biggest. But I suck. And so I'm a fake Rage fan. I'm a fake Rage fan. Everyone's playing me in the comments.
You don't know their number one
'cause I'm
song, bro?
terrible,
You're fake.
And I can't even name. I'm looking it up right now because it's gonna bother me for the rest of the podcast until I find out what this fucking song is called. Because it's been a while since I've heard this song.
Gotcha.
Let me see. It's gonna be the first thing that pops up. Killing
So,
in the name of. You know the song
Killing in the Name of.
That's what it's
Nah.
called. Killing in the.
I
Listen to it. I don't know why.
Alright.
I don't know why I thought it was like "To Death Do Us Part" or some shit. That's fucking Killing in the Name of.
Got you. I'll listen to it till while I take a shower.
So hard. I think it's perfect. I think it's a perfect shower song. If you dig mosh pits, I think it's a perfect.
Oh
shower
yeah,
song.
I'm.
Are you a mosh fan, FLEXBOY? Are you?
Oh yeah, dude. One of my just a quick note, like, the first like metal band I ever got to. I mean, I know this is like probably people are gonna say, "Oh, you're gay," but Skillet, bro, Monster by Skillet, that was like my jam back in the day. In middle school.
This man says Skillet. Hey, okay, I'll give you a pass.
I know they're not like a really.
To be fair, I know, but hey, look, in middle school for me, I really fucked with a little Linkin Park here and there. I'm not gonna lie.
Yo, yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Little Linkin Park here and there. I fucked with that, and I fucked with. Doesn't even matter. I really fucked with Coldplay a lot too back then.
Oh yeah, Coldplay,
so,
dude.
No judgment.
Dude, if you are a 2000s kid,
school, I think,
and you didn't mess with Coldplay, dude.
Coldplay. Yeah, get the fuck. Like, you telling me? I don't even care what anyone says about this. Viva La Vida is still like my number one song ever.
Oh, dude, totally.
I make hip hop.
Totally.
I make hip hop, and I'm still saying Viva La Vida is like my favorite song ever. Like, I don't give a shit. Coldplay was that band for me. Some people really liked Aerosmith. Some people liked, sound like Suicide Silence or whatever.
Yeah.
Mine was Coldplay. Mine was Coldplay. What I've noticed, it's funny you bring up Skillet. Skillet has like, it's pretty much this. It's like a general curve downward. I don't think.
Oh yeah.
Skillet that's like born recently.
Yeah.
Like, since I feel like Skillet dropped off the face of the earth after like 7th grade. You feel me?
Yeah, dude, that was when I listened to that crap, That was when I listened to them. 7th grade,
Exactly. And then it's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's so funny how music has changed. But honestly, if you didn't freak with Coldplay and that Viva La Vida song, and if you didn't mess with the Minecraft remix, bro, I would have to slap you, bro. The Minecraft remix was the best.
Fallen Kingdom? You didn't fuck with Fallen Kingdom, bro? Come on,
bro.
Everyone.
The music video for that and everything was just amazing.
Gold. It was gold, bro. It was gold.
Dude,
Fallen
it was just.
Kingdom. I feel old. I feel so old for knowing what that is. I feel like we're old as shit for knowing what that is.
Yo, my brother Clown.
I'm old enough.
Yeah.
You go. You say words.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought it was lagging again, but it was funny. But no, me and my brother, we were listening to DJ God Has Fallen, and my brother immediately started singing the Minecraft version.
So we back in the mine.
The creeper's following us tonight.
Okay, the fact is, I was old enough. I was old enough during a time to be around when I saw the music video for Viva La Vida be released. Like, that's how old I am. That was 2008. I was alive and saw that happen. That's crazy to me, because now that's like a thing everyone knows, and it's like, dude, I can't believe I remember exactly that day that I saw that.
Yeah. No, they're so underrated now, though, because even some of their new stuff's pretty good. Coldplay's.
Coldplay's one of those bands that I feel like a lot of people enjoy, but you can't admit, or else you're just immediately called fucking stupid, which I understand because you are. But
Yeah,
like
real.
no, I'm never gonna argue that New Play is better than Coldplay 10 years ago, because it's not. Like, this is the fact.
Oh yeah,
Coldplay
it's
10
not. I
years
definitely
ago
I
was
would.
like the pinnacle. No, but like, you know, like that recent album they put out, like whatever it's called. I forget the name of it, but like it's the black and white one. I like it a lot, actually.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely their best one. Their best one of that last decade, you know, of the 2010s. That's their peak. You know?
Yeah. I feel like I mean, they definitely got resurgence when they did that song with the Chainsmokers, which, don't get me wrong, it wasn't the best song ever, but I'm just saying
I
it
fucking
brought
hate
them
that
into the
song.
spotlight. I know.
I hate
After listening a million times, I hate it now.
I work in retail, bro. You think I don't hate that song? I work in retail.
Oh yeah,
That's all I hear.
bruh.
That's all I hear every day.
The song that was closest to Viva La Vida was Sky's. What's it called? Stars Are Falling.
Sky Full of Stars.
Sky Full of Stars, dude. That was close.
Sky Full of Stars.
That song has such a good
agree.
chorus.
I agree. But I would agree more if I was 14 again. But now,
Okay, that's understandable.
Now that I'm not, the EDM combined with the piano really does not work as much as I thought it did back then. I'm not gonna lie.
True.
You know, rest in peace, Avicii, though.
Oh yeah,
blessing.
dude.
Rest in peace, production god. But like,
dude,
you know, that song in particular, not his best work. I'm gonna say that.
Yo, Heaven though. Oh my dude, I cannot get over Avicii's Heaven song, dude.
Beautiful song, brother.
Dude, it is so beautiful. That like
EDM. Okay, I be fucking with EDM. I'm not even gonna
same here.
EDM. Like, I fucked with EDM since middle school. I still do. Like, Avicii was definitely one of my biggest influences as far as that goes. Like, when I was in middle school.
For like producing, or
yeah, for production, for just like general energized music. Like, it was a constant. Like, if you can listen to Avicii, if you weren't bumping Levels by Avicii in class,
yeah, dude. I
don't know what you were doing, bro.
That was, dude. Remember YouTubers used to put that on all of their videos?
That's hilarious.
Oh boy, that was hilarious, dude.
That's not like, now that's all I associate that song with is like 2013 YouTube, you know?
I know, yeah. Oh boy, it's sad, but yeah, he was, dude. Rest in peace, him.
Rest in peace to an absolute legend in the EDM world.
And now his production team is now working for Logan Paul.
Yeah, big downfall. Not gonna lie, but
I don't know, bro. If they did the
grace.
production for that Antonio Brown diss track, though, I'm gonna say that was pretty good of them.
I'm be honest. I don't pay attention to nothing like that. I know no Antonio Brown diss track. I don't know nothing about that.
Yeah, because him and Logan Paul were gonna fight, and then like it just never.
Oh yeah,
happened.
I heard about that though. But to be honest, like Logan Paul, probably the least qualified person to be a rapper, I would say.
Oh yeah, him and Jake are horrible.
Oh no, like
Logan. Yeah.
The fact that it's become such a meme at this point to say it's everyday, bro, even to this day. And
merch.
It's become all like almost like cringy and like painful to say it's everyday, bro. Even though that was like what, 2016, 2017? That wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, 2017. Yeah.
It's painful to think about that now or say that. Like, people will look at you like, "Oh my fucking god, did you just say that?" Like,
yeah.
That says a lot. That says a lot about the peak of his career. I definitely think it was back then. I think the peak of
Jake Paul's career was back then. Before all the Team 10 like drama. Yeah, dude, that was his peak, my guy. But now we talked about different themes and stuff and different problems around the world. Does your album, or your mixtape, sorry, does your mixtape what other topics and themes does it tackle other than what we talked about? Or should we be surprised by what you tackle on there? Oh, Sean. Yeah. Blanks. Shoot. Oh, did he freaking out? He lagged out now. Oof.
My Wi-Fi
there?
that time. Yeah, my Wi-Fi that time.
Okay.
That was my fault that time.
All right, gotcha.
That's hilarious.
No problem.
Okay, yeah. You gave,
All right.
you gave me the little fucking, you gave me that little fucking
Indication.
caution sign on my Wi-Fi, and it was like, not connect to the internet. I'm like, great. No, but as you were saying,
Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, you were saying something about moving on from other themes like that.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, I was wondering, is like, what other themes and topics does your album or your mixtape tackle?
Ooh, okay. So I don't want to give away everything at one time. But,
yeah, definitely.
It's called the .com era for a very distinctive reason. I think me and you are like the last generation to really grow up, and the last generation to really grow up. Generation to grow up with the internet, its full glory, kind of its peak onward, and definitely the last generation to grow up without knowledge of like iPhones and like shit and the ability to have that, you know, like we were definitely the last generation to ever have, I think, a phone-free time in life. You know what I'm saying? Like when I was like 6 years old, there was definitely a time where flip phones were still way more popular than anything else.
Oh yeah.
And like not that many people had a cell phone, especially if you were like our age. Like you didn't really have a cell phone necessarily.
Yeah, for real.
Back then, but like I remember like I was so happy to get like a fucking like broken ass like broken ass T-Mobile fucking flip phone, you know?
Yeah.
Because it had bowling on it, you know. That was the only game you could get on that was bowling. You had these like terrible pixelated screens you message people on, but it got the job done, bro. That's how I got through school and life for a long time.
Yeah.
And like the impact that the internet has had on me as a person, and I feel like a lot of people, is I don't think we're gonna know that for a very long time, but it's definitely like there's a massive culture shift because of it. You know, like people are so much more aware of shit now and so much more in the know and connected that like anyone that isn't on the internet in some way has no fucking clue what's going on anymore. And like the reason I call it the .com era is because with the digital age that we kind of live in, there comes a lot of price to be paid. I talk a lot on here about sort of the invasion of privacy as far as like surveillance goes, you know, because like there's shit like Amazon being exposed for like listening through the fucking Echo and Alexa and shit, you know, and there's a lot of shit that has to do with like the government wanting to have the ability to access and infiltrate Apple ID and information like that on people's phones if they commit a crime. And so like with the ability to publicly put out all your information in one place comes the price of privacy. And I feel like that in and of itself should not be happening. And the internet, for all its good things that it has brought and all of the cultural shift it's brought, it's also fucked. It's a terrible, disgusting wasteland of a place. And I really wanted to put forward a lot of political and a lot of social messaging into a tape. And you know, a lot of people might be turned off by that, especially if it challenges your view. But I if there's one thing I want with this tape, it's not for anyone to just fucking walk away from it and be like, well, I'm fucking offended, you know, or that's not true, or blah, blah, blah. I want them to walk away from it with at least one song that resonated with them a little bit, you know, and at least one song that kind of got through to their head, like, hey, we're all in this together. These are all problems that we've created and we can also fucking stop. Like a lot of institutional racism, like I brought up, a lot of, you know, policies lawmakers make being brought up. But on the other hand, on the coin toss of that, there's a few songs on here that talk about cancel culture, that talk about the irony of canceling one person for a tweet they made years ago, but not canceling someone for something they still admit to doing today. You know, Ian Connor has a successful ass career as a literal serial rapist. You know, but people will cancel somebody for making a fucking joke about gay people back in 2012 when it was a little less taboo to say shit like that. And it's like, you can't hold dumbass jokes people made when it was funny back then against them now when it's not as funny. And then also not hold other people to better standards. You know, like, I really hate how the internet has normalized domestic abuse, sexism, fucking pedophilia, murder, like the free TK shit, you know.
Oh,
like,
yeah, that was...
I saw something recently that was like, there was a kid that did the same things, that had like the same charges as TK, but he got a lesser sentence. And to that, I agree. Like, obviously, charge them both the same, but I think TK was accurately sentenced. I think the white kid just got off easy because he's white, and that's another reason. Like, I talk about this. Just because somebody gets off easy because of their race doesn't necessarily mean that, like, someone like TK does not deserve to be in fucking prison. TK deserves to be in fucking prison. 6ix9ine should still be in prison.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
It really upsets me the fact that his money and his fame, the only things preventing him from being like completely incarcerated right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so I speak on that. Boomer Anthem, I think, is a perfect introduction to the tape. It was, it's something I've always intended on being the introduction to the tape, and that's kind of because like, you know, the first lyric you hear on the whole tape is going to be .com era new boomers. We're the new fucking baby boomers. We are going to be the kids that are out of in like 5 to. We're going to be the kids that think that we're the superior generation. We're so much better, but just like baby boomers, we're also going to be doing a lot of shit wrong. And you know, I think we've already started doing that. I think we already have this big normalized culture on the internet of these really terrible, toxic things like canceling people, like, you know, sexual depravity, you know, and exposing people, you know, giving up privacy, just all that shit. You know, it's a deep, dark hole the internet can be. And I think a lot of people think it's a wonderful, you know, playground full of, you know, TikToks and videos you can watch for a million days and not feel anything afterwards, you know. But no, like with TikTok watches you, TikTok accesses your information. YouTube will fuck you over the same way. They will try and give you a career and then take it from you the moment you have a different opinion, you know. Like there's darker sides to this thing we all use to connect ourselves to, and we've basically, not to sound like a fucking tinfoil hat ass bitch, you can just look it up. It's a fact, and you can just look it up. We've literally all at this point, we don't need microchips inside of us. We don't need the government to track us. We literally just do that ourselves. We have things we carry with us 24/7 that the world has full access to, and we don't even let it bother us, you know. Like cybercrime is going to become like one of the biggest fucking issues in the world here soon, you know, like deep fakes and making very convincing videos that aren't real,
deep fakes are
saying
crazy,
things
dude.
they never said. That's terrifying to me. You know, AI is terrifying to me. All that shit's terrifying. And I really wanted to make a tape and a project that reflected how absolutely scared of the internet that I am. Like, I am terrified of the internet. It's necessary. It's beautiful. I love the internet. Like, it made me who I am. And I feel like motherfuckers that are scared of technology are probably like 70 and stupid. But like, I think it's also totally reasonable to be afraid of the internet, because there's a lot. We've made it. The internet's so big at this point, we can't stop. When we made the World Wide Web, we hit a point that we can never go back. You know, like even if we go back into the dark ages, there's no going back from what we've done. You know, like humanity is forever going to be different because of what we're doing right now. You know, the fact we can do it now is crazy. Also, that means that we're right here. We're not the only people that get to look through that sometimes. You know what I'm saying? So like, I really wanted to talk about internet culture as a whole, the depths of it, why I'm going to use stuff, and you know, everything people use it to kind of escape from, be it, you know, racism, their own feelings, their own issues, you know, whatever. Like, there's a song on the album that I feel like requires a little more context. If you look at the track list, it's called Incel. That is the title of the track.
Oh yeah, I
called
remember seeing that one. I
Incel.
was like, okay.
It is about exactly what you would think it would be about. It is quite literally incels, and as funny as a name as that can be, I think the humor in incels and the humor in incel culture stops and ends at, oh, they don't have sex. Because if you look into it, like I've looked into it and been forced to look into it, it's disgusting. Like, it is it's like literally terrifying, because you have these communities of hundreds of people literally like dedicating their lives to hating women, like flat out hating women, because they feel entitled to sex. They feel entitled to be able to use a woman. And like, sure, that's funny in some way. Oh, they can't get sex, so they're mad. But it gets scary, you know. Like Elliot
weird.
Rodger and people like, you know, Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber, they would be qualified as incels. And people worship them online as defenders of men. Like, there's a lot of deep-rooted sexism that just comes out in violence. And that song in particular, that album, goes so far as to say that's my favorite on the album, because funny name, not so funny subject matter. It's really,
Gotcha.
It really needs to just be hammered home. Like, there's a lot of incel culture infiltrating itself into everyday people, you know, like we don't realize it, but there really is. Like, the whole, you know, motherfuckers are starting to use simp again, and they're using it wrong. First of all,
Bro, first of
they're
all,
using it wrong. Like,
yo, they stealing it from freaking Squidward, my guy.
exactly. You know, like, they're using it wrong. First of all, you know, just having human decency doesn't make you a simp. I'm sorry, you know, like, respecting a woman doesn't make you a simp.
Yeah.
But the whole simp meme came from people that can't get women. It came from that deep sexism, you know what I'm saying? Like, you get called a simp for having a girlfriend now, and that's kind of in response to being called incel, you know? That's kind of what that is. It's just this really sad response to that whole thing, you know? And you got stuff like, I would go so far as to say the guys online that are really just fuckboys and are really just like borderline using women, borderline abusing women, you know, they're just about the same as incels. You know, they might have better luck
right.
with women, you know, because they're big and they're jacked, you know, and they think they have this fucking god complex. But let's be honest here, like, guys that are literally rapists in college and get off because they're, you know, white and they're rich and they're in college and they have their futures ahead of them, and then really low life disgusting kids that just sit inside all day and write these angry things on their computer, they seem very different, right? But they're kind of one and the same when you think about it. They're really
how they
overlap
act,
because they both hate women, they both think they can just do whatever the fuck they want, and they both blame other people for it. And like, that's one of the things I've seen on the internet that's made me absolutely loathe people and loathe how internet culture is. Like, there's no such thing as just being like a fucking, I'm a culprit of it too sometimes, you know, as being like a gentleman on the fuck now. If you're on the internet and you're looking for women, you're just usually looking for quick, easy ways to cope, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's usually what it ends up being. You usually just end up using people as a coping mechanism, you know? And it's like, there's a lot to unpack there, and I don't want to spoil too much of the song itself, because I really just want people to hear what I have to say on that song, because it's a direct attack on people like that. And songs like that, songs like Twitter famous, it's exactly what it sounds like, you know, like cancel culture, being famous on Twitter, anything like that, you know. I would say the only song on the whole thing that isn't like fast-paced, really angry, really upfront, in your face about everything would probably be WW.
Control.
I call it World Wide Web.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, www.
Control. Sorry, I was saying Control plus C, but yeah, www.
Control plus C. Control plus C is a very angry song. Control plus C is just a summary of everything I just talked about, like, just the internet age and shit. That's really just what that is. But www dot, I'm missing a W. World Wide Web. It's kind of like a love letter to my mental health, and it's definitely it's like, it's almost like a self-care song. It's a slow ass song. It's a soft ass beat. I think people will really enjoy it because it's the only like breath of fresh air and just a moment to like calm for a second, in this really fast-paced, really angry track list. We can breathe for just a moment,
Yeah.
You don't have to feel scared with this song. But the subject matter is kind of what we were talking about earlier, like mental health. And I wanted to use this one as sort of a catalyst to kind of speak on like why mental health on the internet is a really complicated thing. It's a really difficult thing for a lot of people to achieve, because social media, while it keeps people in contact, it also keeps people in conflict. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're kind of like, I know for a fact that I'm guilty of this. I'm sure you're probably guilty of this too, but we compare ourselves to other people online.
Oh yeah, definitely.
100%.
Definitely.
And the detriment that has to our self-esteem and the fake life we put out there really affects everyone else, and it really affects us too. And on that song, I just kind of wanted to hammer home how, like, there's something really insidious about how we paint our faces to other people, like millions of people a day, and then have to deal with all this shit on the inside in our bed. Like, we can laugh online, we can be cool online, we can smile online, but when we log off, when we put our phone down, and when we lay down in our bed, we're forced to look ourselves kind of in the mirror in that moment. You're the only one in the room. There's no one else you got to laugh to. No one else you got to impress right there. You got to deal with all that shit up front. And what's crazy to me, and it's so hard to think about, which is weird how hard it is to think about this, is like, people went way longer in human history without the internet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, they didn't have like cell phones, nothing. Like, they were in person in the moment, and things weren't better back then by any means. Like, they were way worse in a lot of ways back then. But the fact of the matter is, people survived and did really well sometimes without anything like the internet. And it's almost unfathomable to think about, because we're like, me and you, we're so used to that shit. We're so used to being able to do something like this where we can just talk immediately, we can just call. But back then, like, you had to fucking get a whole ass telephone. You had to know their number, and you had to find the directions to get to that person's place, and then you could talk to them,
Yeah.
And like, maybe you would have a video camera if you were lucky, and some microphones if you had money, Like, experiences like that are really taken for granted now, and they're just like,
yeah, it's a whole lot simpler.
Exactly. Like, it was way simpler back then. It was more complicated politically, it was more complicated socially, yeah. But like, as far as everyday life for somebody goes, it was so much simpler because there wasn't anything to compare yourself to constantly, or anything that was instant. You had to work for gratification. And I think that's where, like, Boomer Anthem, going back to that one, like, boomers have this fucking god complex almost of like, we were the best generation, we were the best generation, all y'all fucking millennials don't know how to do anything. But then they get on the internet and they fucking fall for like you want a scam, they'll be like, click on it. Boomers will tell us like, oh, be careful what you put out on the internet because it stays with you forever, and then like tweet something racist, It's weird to me.
It's funny, yeah.
It's weird to me. Like, I get where their ego comes from, because we don't work as hard as a generation because we've never had to. We have this shit at our fingertips. We have a better way of life than back then, and so we're used to like that instant gratification, instant satisfaction. We don't need to work as hard, But where boomers have bragging rights is like, we know how to fucking live without this shit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I think what scares me is like, I love the internet. Like I said, I wouldn't be here without it. Like the internet raised me practically. But, you know, to some extent, we're all like really dependent on the internet. And I'm scared, like, if that shit goes down, down,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we're prepared. I don't think we're ready to know what to do if the internet just shuts the fuck down. Like even back in the 90s, you remember like Y2K, you know, they thought like when it hit 2000, all the computers were going to crash. It was going to be anarchy, you know?
Yeah.
Back then it was like that. Imagine if all the computers crashed today, you know?
Oh yeah, dude. Be so red dawn up in this hoe.
It'd be red dawn. Exactly. Like it'd be game over, you know? Like that's really scary. Like we're that dependent. I read something a while back that was like, it was talking about how a lot of records and a lot of important information is being stored digitally and not physically anymore. You know, like there's a decline in physical documentation,
mm-hmm.
and that's dangerous because, you know, while physical documentation isn't as efficient, it's way more permanent. You know, if anything happens to anything digital, like your phone or a computer or a thumb drive or whatever, like that information is gone, like gone forever.
Yeah.
If I deleted some of the songs off that I have on SoundCloud just like forever, they'd be gone forever. You know, like there's no record of them anywhere else. There's no CD. There's nothing. Like that's the dependency that's kind of scary to me. Like we need the internet now. Whereas before, like the internet needed us to function, you know, like it was just a tool, but now it's like almost a necessity. And it's weird. It's a really weird thing to think about for me. Like how many kids get their culture and get their knowledge off the internet, you know? And I've been told by my parents before, I don't know if you've had a similar experience with this. They've told me like, you know, I don't know where you got this influence from, but it wasn't from us. It must have been your friends or something. It's like, no, it was from the internet. Like I'm this way because of what I watch on YouTube and just, you know, and just what I found, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's a lot of unpacking, it sounds like, on this thing, man, on this mixtape.
It's been like 2 years in the making almost, man. Like I've had to really figure out what I wanted to say, and I think it took me this long. It took me this long for a reason. It's a complicated subject matter. There's 16 tracks. It's a long ass tape. It's not like an hour or anything, but like it's long, you know. And I think it needed to be. I think I wouldn't be proud of it if it wasn't everything I needed to say, you know.
Yeah, man. I mean, like really, it sounds like over the year. I mean, you said it was 2 years. It sounds like something I probably thought of, like all the subjects you brought up. Yeah. I've probably thought about those ever since like I started thinking about the world around us. Like,
oh yeah, and
I feel like most people have.
Yeah, man.
So I feel like a lot of people will connect with this, definitely.
I don't see a lot of music or art being made about that kind of subject matter in the internet, you know. Like I see internet themed projects, sure, but I've never seen really a project centered around like what the fuck we're doing to ourselves with it, you know. Because I think a lot of people when they hear like, oh, the internet is scary, they think like it's some conspiracy theory, you know. They think it's like the government's tracking you type bullshit. It's like, nah, like I'm not a conspiracy theorist or nothing. Like I think John F. Kennedy was assassinated, you know. Like I don't think 9/11 was an inside job.
Tupac is definitely dead.
Tupac is 100% dead. Like that, there's no conspiracy theories with me. For me, these are just facts people don't like to think about because they're scary. The internet's a scary place. We depend on it, and the government can use it however they really want if they decide to. That's kind of weird, right? That's kind of scary.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like for people that don't think about it, and like they just realizing, it's like, bro, it's been on that wavelength. You like, just gotta like realize it.
They're just thinking about the stuff now because everything has happened. Like I think this tape couldn't come out at a better time, and that's why I'm dedicating it to sort of like the funds and the charities out there that are supportive of Black Lives Matter shit right now, because this is a perfect example of the government knowing it can do shit and we have no power over that, even though we have so much information. They can just do these things. And I think what's really helpful about this time in history is that this is the first, like, this shit has always been going on, like, Rodney King was just the first really big instance of televised police brutality, but there were no phones back then, so think about, if this shit's happening now, think about how bad it must have been, like, back then.
Oh yeah,
like, no one could film you back then half the time. So now that everyone has a camera, the only difference is we're just seeing more of this happen, but it's always kind of happened. And I think
yeah,
that's where the internet kind of gets weird for me. It's like, it's a really good thing because we have all this information immediately accessible to us. We can film all these things happening and get justice for them to happen, But on the flip side of that, it can very well be used against us. There's plenty of people that are misinforming, like, widespread audiences about what's going on. They're saying, like, oh, the protesters are setting everything on fire, the cities are ruined, and they're spreading false information. And I don't think we realized as a generation how easy it is to spread false information until, like, things got really political back in 2016. You remember?
Oh yeah, dude, it was nuts. Like, it's nuts. It's even crazier now. Like you brought up all the deep fakes. And
like, there's even more shit that can go wrong politically on the internet now. Like,
that's
scary to me. There's so much false information that can be spread around. Like, the only fake news out there is shit that, like, these random Chinese bots will tell you, like, that's scary. The fact that, like, other countries can just, like, spam post a million different fake articles and people will believe it, and they'll go out into the streets over it, like the thing that pissed me off are all those fucking angry ass white people that went outside during coronavirus with their fucking guns and demanded haircuts, and that's because of all these fake ass articles about coronavirus not being deadly or all that bullshit, but, like, it's real, bro. It's real. And they didn't even care. They walked out into the street in droves. That scares me, man.
And also it's another weird situation because, again, like, for once, nobody knows, like, the real, like, how this thing works. Like, you get all sorts of like specialists, like, all medical specialists don't know exactly. They're just going off what they've been told by the heads up, like Dr. Fauci and other doctors around the world, and the World Health Organization and the CDC, and even they, like, and they don't even know. It's like a weird situation where really nobody knows. It's, like, unpredictable.
And I don't think anyone, not even, like, boomers, have been in a situation like that in their lifetime. Like, that last time that happened, they said was, like, the Spanish flu in, like, 1902 and shit.
Yeah.
Like, that was over 100 years ago that happened. No one alive, I mean, mostly no one alive today ever had to live through that. And so for the first time in the digital age, we have to live with the fact that we don't have all of the information at our fingertips. This is something we can't know everything about immediately. And I think it's kind of a necessary reality check for a lot of people. Like, I hate the fact that this pandemic is happening. It never should have been this bad, but, like, I think it's a necessary wake-up call almost. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, I think this definitely is a wake-up call for many people.
Got a lot of people out of their bubble,
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like, I'm very interested to see how this sounds. It was great talking about how basically the internet's a double-edged sword.
1000%.
And it could affect you and it can affect others. And also it kind of goes back to the message also when you're talking about fake news articles. It's like another weapon reference is the pen is mightier than the sword. Like, fake news gets spread enough, eventually people are going to start believing it.
1000%, yeah. And in this case, they did. They ran out into the streets and said and demanded like they reopen shit because of that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and also the government's response to this and like how they're taking away just rights are just blatantly being taken away, and it's crazy.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna go to fan questions. What y'all submitted on Instagram. Stories, yes, my guy.
It's time.
We got interesting ones.
I'm okay.
All right. So this one you kind of already answered. It's kind of standard. How many songs on the mixtape, and what are your favorites?
Ooh, okay. So there's 16. My favorites, I'd have to say, definitely I'd say Incel is my favorite off the whole thing. Fashion Week, Area Code 404, second to last song. I'm excited for that one. I don't think motherfuckers are ready for that one. On God. And probably 2020. I'd say those are my four favorite. Yeah, I'd say my four favorite. Wait, I gotta include HTTPS. I'm not gonna even spoil nothing about that one. I ain't even gonna say shit about that one. That one I just want that to speak for itself. So those are my five.
Got you.
Five favorite off that whole thing. Yeah, 1000%.
All right. This one I think is interesting. How long does it take to finish a song usually?
That varies. That varies a lot. Sometimes it's taken me like less than a week to just fully complete a song. Sometimes usually it takes me either like 3 weeks to a month to finish one song. And I'm getting quicker at it because I'm just getting better with time, you know, but like, yeah, it's a fucking process to flesh out a song the way I want to. So it can, like Bullfrog took maybe about like a week and a half, you know, nothing too crazy, but a song like 2020, you know, that was probably the quickest song I've ever made, which is crazy. Yeah, it probably took about 6 days. It came out, it was really easy. I didn't expect it to be as easy as it was. It came out really easy, and I was like, fuck yes, this was a good song, and it came out nice, and it was quick. But songs like Fashion Week took 9 months to make, that one song.
Yeah, I remember you kept, you were like, all right, it's gonna come out, and then you're like, oh wait, it needs work.
I'm so indecisive. I am the biggest indecisive asshole ever. I will set a release date for myself and then never fulfill it ever. Like I just need to stop doing that, because like even this tape, I said it was gonna come out Friday. It's probably coming out Wednesday. Like, on God.
Yeah.
It's not. I'm not ready yet, and it's because I'm a perfectionist, and it's also because I suck at self-dedication, my own goals. But yeah, man, like Fashion Week took fucking 9 months just to make that one song, because I could never get it just the way I wanted to. So it really just depends on what you're going for, man. Like if I'm going for something crazy dramatic like Fashion Week, it might take a fucking while.
Yeah, I mean, I understand, because it's like just all the instrumentation and the effects and the different choruses and the pre-chorus and like all the different segments of the song. Like
there are so many thrown away lyrics and thrown away takes of that song. probably like over 40. I would say over 40 different vocal takes have been thrown away for Fashion Week. Yeah, it was bad. It was bad.
Dang. All right. This next question is great. You might know who this is, but how much kissy does Blanks get at a given week?
How much kissy does Blanks what?
Does Blanks get in a week? In a given week.
In a given week.
I don't know what that means, but
so how much kissy Blanks gets is currently in a solid 0. Blanks don't get that much kissy. Blanks used to get some pretty good kissy, but like Blanks don't get that much kissy right now. I'm on a kissy deficiency. So if you want some kissy, get your ass over here. That's all I gotta say about that, man.
I'll take some of that action too.
You want some kissy? You want some kissy, FLEXBOY?
Yeah. All right. I kind of asked this at the beginning, but what's your what do you think the sale or stream numbers are going to be?
Like 20.
20.
I aim low so that when it exceeds your expectations, you're satisfied. So I'm just gonna go with like 10 people. I don't even know. I don't expect that many.
Yeah. So we got a couple that were, some of them are just statements, but
fair.
Somebody's they were verified, but they just said, checked out your page, really awesome music, keep up the good work.
I think you read a bot there, Nicholas. I think you.
You know what? I could have read a bot.
I think that was probably an ad on God.
Honestly, probably, yeah.
This is why the internet fucking sucks.
This is literally what you were talking about.
This is what I'm talking about. A bot asked me a question.
And then this one could be a bot too. It said, good stuff.
Swag.
Glad I stopped by.
Definitely a bot. Definitely a bot.
They're verified too, though.
Swag.
All right. And then someone actually asked a real question. Bulldog is, or it's a statement, but then it gets to the question. Bullfrog is a dead ass slap. Got more like that?
Yes, on this tape. I would say, yeah. I'd say it's not the first and definitely not the last punk song you're gonna be hearing from me. So y'all motherfuckers better get used to some angry ass songs, because there's a good few on here. All I'm saying is right gear talks. That's all I have to say.
I can't imagine like what that's gonna sound like, dude.
Oh,
Sounds crazy.
You're not fucking ready. You're not fucking ready for that one.
All right, man. Well, it has been a blast having you on here.
I've loved
kidding
it.
around.
I've loved it, FLEXBOY.
Yeah, I'm glad you come on here first episode, man. Glad we can have a conversation and not just yell at each other like crazy people have been lately.
Absolutely, I love you.
All right. Well, do you want to leave your socials? Anything you want to shout out? Anybody you want to shout out?
Shout out to Gunnar Gooch, aka Doubt It. He did all the drums for the tape, all of the acoustic drums. There's a lot. I'm not ready.
Awesome.
All the acoustic drums. He did all of those. He has 2 verses. That's my fucking homie right there. I love Gunnar. Go follow him. It's at Doubt It Georgia. Go follow that man. He's a beautiful artist, beautiful man, kind soul. That's the second half of BLANKS, in my opinion. You know, he's might as well just be part of the thing.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mason Rawlings. I can't really explain his contribution. I mean, I'm just gonna let it speak for itself.
Oh boy, I can't imagine what.
You're just gonna have to do that one. Shout out to Armando Pagan, aka Astromondo, my motherfucking homie. Gave a great verse on 50. Shout out to Jackson Rhodes, aka just Jackson. He's on Fashion Week. He features on there. Shout out to Devontae Cantrell, aka D1 of Open, the band Open. He has a lovely little feature on Username Password that I think you will all enjoy. Shout out to Dave Chappelle for that one sample in Boomer Anthem that I can't say. I can't say that word.
Oh, that's what that's from.
Yeah, I can't say that one, but I can put it in a song. So to each his own. And shout out to Incel Culture. And on that note, every digital purchase of the album goes toward a bail fund in America. 80% of the streams goes towards bail funds. And if you just want to support a good cause and just get some good music out of it, feel free to listen. Other than that, my Instagram is SDW Personal. That's SDW Personal for Sean Douglas Westbrook. BLANKS. I love you. Thank you very much.
All right, love you too, man. Just to finish it off, I got this quote that I think really it talks about your journey. I feel like just watching you from afar, and somewhat up close. And I feel like this would also go for a lot of people to inspire them. But so it goes, don't stop believing. Don't be afraid of change. Don't underestimate yourself. Don't make excuses. Don't cheat yourself, and don't ever stop. By Germany Kent. She's a reporter and writer. I feel like that is a great quote to symbolize.
Say it with your chest, baby. Say it with your chest.
It's a great quote to get rid of the angry moat. Bars.
Absolutely.
Bars, my guy.
Absolutely.
Anyways.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Again, thank you, Blanks, for coming on the first episode of the FLEXCAST. You can follow me, FLEXBOY, at FLEXBOY Adventures, Instagram, FLEXBOY Adventures,
FLEXBOY
space for YouTube. Also, we got a Facebook, FLEXBOY Adventures, and we also got a Twitter, FLEXBOY Adventures.
Follow me on Spotify.
Also, follow my man on Spotify,
Instagram, whatever you use, Spotify, iTunes, I don't even care. I'm on everything.
Yep. We on all the stuff. We on all the crap. All right?
We on all that bullshit.
All right. I will see you on the next one, and hopefully we will have Doubt It.
Doubt It. Gunner himself.
We will have Doubt It, man. We'll be able to talk to him about his EP that he just dropped a couple days ago. Be interesting. All right. Hope you have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Stay flexing.
Stay flexing, baby.
Stay flexing. All right.